IMHO Talk Show.
All right. So, for those who've been loyal listeners, y'all know that Max ain't the only one with a little theme music. So, Raise, it's time to get bucked.
Hey, let me get it, cuz.
It's time to get let them loose. Let them loose. Oh man. So what this is about right now, this is where we get Razor's rants. Maybe AA Ron coined it that. I can't remember. But today, man, like so Razor and I had like a little touch base, but we waited. We didn't even talk about it, Razor, because we was like, let's save it for the show. But this is about none other than former president. Was it Donald J. Trump? So yes. So I'm sure the world knows he has been convicted, not just charged, but convicted on was it 36 counts? Right?
Is it 36?
34, 36, right?
34, I thought.
34. Look at me adding them to him. Give more time. Give more time, Max.
I think it was 37. That's what I heard.
Oh my goodness. But truth be told though, like there are other charges, right, pending. So the count definitely could climb. But in all seriousness, all right, Race, let's get serious.
Yeah, let's get it.
Because in all seriousness, the larger issue, right? The bigger issue is, what does this really mean? What does it really say about our society? What does it say about our judicial system? Right. All right. So Razor's rant, I guess it's me and Max go first. Sorry, Razor.
Yeah.
He's got to hold your horses.
Gotcha.
So Max, I guess I'll kick it off, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with me, Max, from the beginning of my knowledge of, well, I guess the very, very beginning was like, he's wealth, like he represents American wealth, right? That was the very, very beginning. And so like you even have our hip hop culture that would allude to him, like when you wanted to be flashy and say that you had the most stuff, you may name drop being the Black Donald Trump or something, like that's what we used to do. But fast forward, and he became a politician. To a lot of people's surprise, became president. My issue was the respect for the office. And that's where I saw him lacking, number one. That was number one. No different than if you're a pastor. I feel like not everybody should be called bishop. Too many bishops.
Agreed.
Right? Like that's a calling. And so my thing is, for those who want to defend or those who want to have the party blindness, because I don't have party blindness. Like I can give you reasons on why certain values make me vote a certain way. But it's like, if someone displays characteristics that I feel like are an endangerment or are against what I feel like that office of president stands for, that I don't see how a warm-blooded American who says that they're not racist or says that they're not bigoted or whatever the case is, how could you support somebody who acts and makes comments and says they're going to enact racist policies and bigoted and sexist policies? That part doesn't add up to me. So, so I say all that, and not to mention that like the New York Democrats and him been friends, which ain't even gonna get too deep into that because that shows you politically everybody kind of scratches each other's back. They may say they're a Democrat or Republican, whatever the case. But my thing is like, when it comes to these counts, right? That's the question at hand, y'all. These counts, people saying it's a kangaroo court. I've heard people compare it to Jesus, and I'm like, huh? And then they backtrack when you call them out on it and be like, well, no, I wasn't comparing. I'm just saying that the situations are similar. Like, why would you even mention those two together?
Right.
It's like unless you had an underlying meaning to what you were saying. So don't backtrack, right? But so my whole thing is like, in a judicial system that I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it still has a majority conservative Supreme Court. Our court is a majority Supreme. So if he was guilty based on the courts, who are we to now be
the
like
jury of his peers?
Yeah, who are we to now be like it was for political reasons, right? If he's wrong, he's wrong. And then to try to get my white friends and stuff to see, and particularly them when it comes to the ones that support Trump, and even black folks too. Like you had some ignorant rappers in New York that was on this.
You be trying to convince them.
Yeah, but my whole thing is it's like we don't speak up when all these injustices get done to people of color,
Mm-hmm.
but now we care so much about injustice being done to a crooked businessman who did his thing. All right, but I know I'm taking too much time. I know we have to end the show.
Well,
Go
no,
ahead,
you got all the time
That's
in the
my
world
thing.
because I
That's
don't
my
got much
thing.
to say here.
Well, should Razor go first to make sure he get his points in? What you think?
He may as well. I mean,
What you
it's
think?
not the only thing I can say is that this type of individual, this type of personality, is not going to be good for our country, and it is very alarming. If a little bit nervous about because there's a possibility that he could still end up being president of this country, and that for me is a little bit scary.
Yeah.
But other than that,
yeah. And Razor, the only other thing I would say is that I didn't say that to be partisan at all, because I'm not feeling any of the candidates. Let me put that out there for everybody who thinks this is like a Democratic stump speech. That ain't what it is.
Right.
But I'm like, respect. Number one, respect for the office, no matter what your job is.
What say ye?
What's up, Razor? That's what I want to know.
All right. First off, I want to make sure.
He the white savior, Razor. I'm sorry.
Yeah. He the greatest thing God ever gave us. No, I'm just playing. But all right, this is my take on him. And it has went back and forth for me, right? I remember him before he went for president as just a crooked businessman, like most of them were. Billionaire Boys Club. But what I also noticed was that I will compare his tenure and the way that he responds to Saddam Hussein. He, at times, I think, in my humble opinion, is a necessary evil. Because when money doesn't like him, poor doesn't like him, black doesn't like him, white doesn't like him, that's because nobody can really control him. So he might be for you over this side and against you the next minute. So because he has evil, like he can be even, honestly. I know black people going off and twisting in your seat and pulling your wig cap back and everything else. I get that, right? But the fact of it is, when Saddam Hussein got taken out of, what happened to the world? He was keeping an evil at bay. Donald J. Trump, as you called him, right? 4 or 5. is a necessary evil. We're not going to be happy with everything that he says, right? But when you start to talk about everything that he did that was against us, that number is just apparent. It's not so much that it wasn't, in my humble opinion, it's not so much of stuff that we weren't already battling, but we were more comfortable with battling it long as you weren't putting it in our face. Because then his constituents were going around acting like it was the thing to do, right? And that's when we had our real problem. It's not that it wasn't there. It's just that it wasn't in our face. But at the same time, he will sit there and disrespect high-end white people, political people, in their face and make them go underneath him. So he would take their power away from them as well. So I believe if they're the ones that's going to eradicate him, if he gets only 4 years and has to do it all on the weekends at home or in the whatever, then that means that he bought the deal. You know what I'm saying? That means that he knows that they have him, and so he has to sway that way. But if they don't know that they can sway him, then they're going to prosecute him to the fullest extent. But to sum all that up, I'm saying he's a necessary evil because nobody can control him.
Thank you for that. The other part too, the political prisoner. I've heard that thrown around, calling him a political prisoner. And I already kind of made my point on how I think that's a bunch of garbage. But political prisoners historically have been people who have put their lives on the line for the rights of the underprivileged, to make sure that all men were free. To label him a political prisoner, let alone his trial to be like Jesus' trial.
I'm not going that far. I reposted that post myself because I wanted people to understand you cannot decide that you want to look at it one way because it follows your faith and your emotions, and you look at it a different way of how you're going to treat people just because you don't like this person because of your flesh. That's why I reposted it.
Yeah, so what do you think about the charges itself, as we come to a close?
Oh, he's guilty of more than what they charged him with. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. That's the
He's-
bottom line, right?
Yeah, he's way guilty. Like he's guilty all the way. It's not even a question about it. But in his guilt, all the things that he did before he was president, the parties that he has, the stuff that he has on, pretty much like Puffy, you know what I'm saying? The stuff that he had on people makes people nervous because he could dismantle their way of living at the snap of a finger. And that makes him dangerous.
And that's the beauty of it, Razor Max. And I'm kicking you, Max, to take us home. That's the beauty of it right there, is that I wanted to expose. Yeah, because let's hold everybody accountable. Because what people talk about is like, well, Democrats crooked too. Right? So why ain't they getting convicted or whatnot? Let's do it.
What he's doing is what black people wanted Obama to do.
Yeah.
You know that, y'all? What he did, the way he was calling people out, was the way that we wanted Obama to do it.
True.
We wanted Obama to be so black that he offended white people. But we had a white person that came along and did it to us, and we hollering. Like, that's the truth behind it.
Yeah, Barry wouldn't have got away with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But thank y'all. Very, very rich conversation. See, I knew it. Miss Max.
Yeah. Is that it? Let's see.
And that was Razor Ramp. We got Buck with it.
Good job.
IMHO Talk Show.